Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Forge of Champions. We are at the final of our third scoring tournament. Today we see a rematch of EXCEL versus ENCLAVE, a rematch of the second scoring tournament final, would you believe it or not, and it's going to be a corker. My name is EXCEL. I'm joined by... about to call you Hitbrain for a second.
Wow.
By Dalsy and also Gosu. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, good.
I think it's because I had that hip brain thing in my ear. He was going, fear beyond death! And I was just thinking about Jake screaming that. Anyway, how are you guys doing?
Good. Looking forward to the games.
Yeah, it's been hot today. We had a nice chill at the pool. That was pretty cool.
It's always nice. It's a rooftop pool as well, so you get to see the Barcelona from underneath.
Salute to LVP for letting us go and chill by the pool by booking a nice hotel. Thanks, guys. Anyway, so let's move on with how we're sort of going on today. This is the third scoring tournament, like we said, the third of 4. So after this, we are 3/4 of the way through our point gathering stage in the Forge of Champions, which means after today, we'll have a clearer idea of who is likely going to be qualifying, although it's not said and done just yet, but we'll have a clear idea, especially towards the top end of the table.
I mean, it's hard to know 100% who that will be just because of the fact that every scoring tournament's worth more than the previous, and so there's always that chance for someone to upset it.
Absolutely, and afterwards, obviously, we will be updating that after the series once we know the final positions of everybody. But it's just to make you guys aware, there's still a lot to play for, but this tournament is very important for especially these two teams competing. So, let's talk about Forge of Champions in general, because Forge of Champions obviously can be fairly confusing for a newer viewer. It has got a very complex system, but it can be broken down very easily. So we have a nice graphic that we can bring up and we can talk about it. So we're going to have a quick look at the animation here, and you guys can sort of have a little look at Forge of Champions. It's split into 4 individual tournaments. Each tournament has 2 stages, an open stage and a scoring stage. Now, the open stage allows for up to 64 teams from across the UK and Ireland to sign up and compete for a spot in the subsequent scoring stage. The top 8 teams from the tournament will qualify and are seeded based on their finishing position in the open bracket. The scoring stage takes the 8 open teams and matches them with 8 invited teams from the previous Premiership. Here the teams play from a round of 16 bracket, with teams earning points based on their final positions at the end of the tournament. The top 8 teams will also earn a cut of our £50,000 prize pool. Now, points get more and more over the 4 tournaments and they ramp up. The 8 teams with the most points earned at the end of the tournament stage qualify for our grand finals. This playoff bracket will decide our overall champion and who takes home the lion's share of the prize pool. Teams also have an added incentive with 2 EU Masters spots up for grabs. The team with the most points at the end of the tournament stage will automatically qualify, with our second spot going to our overall champions. I have rehearsed that lots of times now. I hope you guys understand. I hope you guys have a little bit of a clearer idea, and obviously massive props to whoever created that graphic, because it's really awesome. Right, let's move on. So, we are actually in Barcelona, but this is obviously the UK tournament. We'll be eventually moving over to London when we get the opportunity, probably next year.
Aww.
I know. I've quite enjoyed being in Barcelona. I'm not looking forward to having to do it in London, but whatever. You know, beggars can't be choosers. Let's move on to if you guys want to get involved. So you can go to Twitter at LVPUK on Twitter, and you can use the hashtag Forge of Champions 3. Or just Forge of Champions, but if you want to talk about this specific tournament, Forge of Champions 3 is the hashtag that you want to talk about. You can tag the casters so we can see your tweets, and we can probably talk about it on broadcast as well. If you want to check out what's happened before, maybe you want to see the semi-finals that you missed yesterday, or you want to look at some of the other videos from our previous tournaments, you can go to YouTube, and on YouTube you will have LVP UK. If you just search that in, you'll find the YouTube channel, and it has all of the VODs from all of the games that we have shown on broadcast. Okay, so we actually have another special addition to Housework, and it is something that Riot UK and in Riot in general have been so courteous as to provide. We are doing a pool party special. So we are actually, with the kickoff of pool party, we are going to be doing a pool party special. In fact, I've got to get even more pool party here. Oh. There we go.
I think we can get that
there we go.
as well for a little bit.
There we go. Let's get Rob ready for the pool party.
Thank you.
There we go. I think I need my flotation. Let's get the flotation device in. Oh yeah. Right. Cool.
Perfect.
So if you guys want to be involved in the pool party, oh my god, there's actually water in that. I didn't realise you'd filled that up. I just got that. Thanks. We're actually really well prepared for this segment. Yeah. If you guys want to get involved with the pool party special, here is how you do it. Now, First of all, you need to go to forgeofchampions.com and register. So if you want to take part in Forge of Champions, or you want a chance of winning this Pool Party Special Bundle, which is the new Pool Party skins, and I believe we're giving 3 of those away, go to forgeofchampions.com, register yourself, or register a team. There's still a lot to play for in Forge of Champions, lots of money still on the line, and you guys could win a piece of that. You can then also go to LVP UK on Twitter and hit that follow button. Smash that follow button. And make sure you check out all the tweets. They tweet some great pictures of champions with quotes. It's really thrilling stuff. Also then, you need to answer the question with this hashtag #PoolPartyFOC. You need to answer the question, which of the Pool Party skin champions, and there are quite a few of them, not Nami, would you... Would you
Look,
like
I'm
to
giving them an idea, okay? That's all. I just want to Pool Party Nami, okay?
Which of the Pool Party champions would you like to have on a desert island with you? And we want to know the reason why. It can be troll, it can be an actual answer, whatever you like. Dalcy's yesterday was Lee Sin because it's an infinite supply of pina coladas, although the pina coladas will hit you in the face really hard, so you do have to be really careful about accepting them. But regardless, you know, it's a pretty solid answer. So if you want to be involved with the Pool Party Special, you can do that by answering that question and doing the steps that I mentioned before. So there we go. Thank you very much. And now we can move on to the bracket and we can have a look at what we've got coming up today, because it is just one game. It is a best of 5. It is the final of the Forge of Champions 3. It is EXCEL versus Enclave, a rematch of Forge of Champions 2. Two titans of the UK scene, both with capital E's. And we'll have to see, will EXCEL be able to come out on top once more, or will Enclave find redemption after what was a very tough series for them last time, boys?
Yeah, I mean, they took them pretty handily in the first 2 games, and I thought that they were just going to run away with it. I was like, this wasn't the finals really expecting. And then EXCEL took 1, EXCEL took 2, and they ended up taking the whole thing.
So actually, we have a little bit of added information for you guys. Ooh. So let's have a look at the scoreboard. This is what it would look like if EXCEL came out victorious. So if EXCEL win this particular tournament, we will see the scoreboard, which is not the scoreboard right there. We're almost going to get to it. There we go. This is what it would look like. I actually can't read with these sunglasses. This is what it would look like if EXCEL win. So they would be a significant amount of points above their competition, which is Enclave Gaming, putting them in a pretty sure foot for the EU Masters spot, as well as, obviously, already qualifying for that top 8 position. So EXCEL would really love to win this tournament. They won the second tournament, and obviously had a bit of a shocker in the first one, but regardless, 2 wins in a row would put them in a great position. And let's have a look at Enclave then. So if Enclave win, it would spice things up a little bit. Yeah. We would get full, not quite Korma, but, you know, like Vindaloo style. This is going to be a really tight race. I know, don't ask. This is going to be a really tight race at the top of the tournament with only 300 points separating EXCEL and Enclave, meaning that the 4th tournament is a lot to play for, especially for those 2 teams.
I like the fact that you've just basically told us that you find Korma spicy.
I literally just named the first curry that came to my head. I didn't quite think about the spice value. Okay, a coconut-based curry, obviously not super spicy. I just couldn't think of another curry on the spot. Happens. Sorry, I'm just going to put my sunglasses back on now and fade into the distance. Speaking of that first match, let's get underway with it, because it is going to be Enclave versus EXCEL. And boys, I'm sure you're watching keenly. You were there with me on the last final. Given what we've seen, who are you going in favouring?
I think it has to be EXCEL. I mean, they've just looked very, very strong. Even the games yesterday, they didn't let up when they were ahead. They looked like they just had a game plan. They're going with it, and I think it's got to be them.
I mean, last time we saw them play, it was a 5-game extravaganza. It was pretty intense, but it was EXCEL who reverse sweeped it.
Classic EXCEL.
I mean, that shows a lot of mental fortitude.
Fortitude.
I said it, and then
I thought you were going to say funtitude. I was like, that's not a word that we can just accept.
It shows a lot of mental fondue.
Same.
You know, the cheese kind. Enclave.
That's fondue, actually. It's not fondue either.
We should just stay away from food-related products entirely. These clearly don't work for us.
No, I think you're right.
The one thing that I really enjoyed about Enclave's games yesterday were that they showed a lot of respect. They weren't super willing to just, you know, cut the game quickly. Now, some people will go with that and go, well, maybe they're not strong enough to be able to do that. Whereas others may just go, well, maybe they don't want to give up any potential leads. And so the kind of distinction that comes from that is, you know, if they do get ahead against EXCEL, are they able to then just hold them right back the entire series and just, not allow them to come back into the game? Or is that actually a weakness that EXCEL can exploit and come back into a game? Obviously, that's just a scenario where ENCLAVE might be up in the series. Who knows? But I think EXCEL, the more polished team, they definitely look like the team that is going to hit you harder.
I think the team that adapted to the meta very well as well. EXCEL have always done very well. They were really good at running funnel strategies in the UK scene. That was kind of a special with Venza specifically on Kaisar as well. They play really good funnel Yasuo composition, or kind of funnel Yasuo composition. I think EXCEL have got a lot in their quiver, and with 8.15 out now, they seem to be able to adapt quite quickly. I do think Bendy, though, was impressive yesterday. For me, I think Bendy had a brilliant performance. He obviously picked up those traditional AD carries really nicely again. And overall, that bot lane for me is going to be a key part of this competition.
That was the one thing that I feel like Bendy wasn't really being able to fit into, was just the fact that the marksman role was just so up in the air. And Bendy, clearly, before he was picked up for ENCLAVE, was the one that they picked him up for his ability to play marksman like heroes. And so
we've got a tweet, apparently. So we're going to have a look at that tweet. What happens when EXCEL and ENCLAVE hit finals again? ENCLAVE game begins. Let's have another Game 5 extravaganza. I think that must be from... I think I can't actually read that properly.
Jakey Ray.
Jakey Ray. Okay, so we're going to obviously, again, we've got a really big final coming away, and he knows it. Back at home, Jakey, thank you very much for the tweet. I couldn't read it, though. Because of my sunglasses, I don't know why I put them back on. But regardless, I think he's right. I think this is two teams that are the most evenly matched in the competition right now. I think they are always willing to go a level up. They seem to level up over each other during the series. EXCEL finally found a way to crack that ENCLAVE machine. Rifty had an excellent performance versus Sendo, and I think, again, that's a big matchup. Every matchup is big for this. It's very difficult to pin down a single lane or a single matchup and say, this is the one that wins the game. But we focused on Rifty and Sendo last time. I want to bring it down to Venza and Quickseth versus Bendy and Haddo. I think that's going to be a really big lane.
Yeah, I think this is where I want to see what way these guys come out, because last time we looked at this matchup, we saw the Swain was the big pick. It was just being tossed back and forth between the two teams, and neither of the ADCs or the marksmen looked that great on it. I mean, it was really looking for something else that was going to come from it, and I hope that they kind of move away from that, because we've seen transition back towards those marksman champions, and I think when you've got Bendy and you've got Venzer on these champions, they just look so strong.
I mean, yesterday the players played on the new 8.15 patch just an hour after it came to live servers. Now they've had a day to walk away from that. Whatever they tried, they may have some feelings whether it was strong or not. I'm sure that if they do think that marksmen and traditional marksmen are back and strong with the reduction of prices of the marksman items, then that's where we're going to see those marksmen get prioritized. Caitlyn seemed to be a priority pick. We'll have to see if the Jhin continues to be a priority pick. We even saw Misfortune yesterday. It didn't look so hot.
She didn't build the marksman items though.
That's true.
They were going for more of a burst heavy with the pike lane, because Misfortune's supposed to be able to trade with the double up into Jhin quite nicely in the lane, and it was just supposed to be aggressive, but they didn't manage to make it work.
I mean, we're already seeing weird picks coming into this, and we actually saw Quickset picking up that Thresh as well that got buffed. So I think if you're looking at this at bot lane, I think it's just going to be so explosive.
I think it's going to be super explosive, especially. And again, like you said, Quickset's Thresh is really well known, kind of what he was known for when he was coming up as a support. So he played it really well. Some highlight plays from him in that particular game too. So I'm looking forward to these bot lane matchups especially.
I think the really cool thing as well that both these teams, when we got to this stage last time, brought out something new. We saw Venzer pick up the Yasuo, which became a big pick for both these teams in that series, and I'm looking forward to seeing what both these teams are going to bring to the board now. I mean, EXCEL always have something in their back pocket, and I want to see if ENCLAVE can do the same thing as they did last time.
So we are moving into picks and bans for our first game of this best of 5 series. It is going to be EXCEL on the blue side, ENCLAVE on the red, and we will have to see. I've just pressed the wrong button on my chair. We'll have to see. I wanted to stay up straight. We'll have to see what goes through these bans. EXCEL really not wanting to play against Zoe. It was 100% ban for them versus Wind and Rain yesterday, and they're going to continue with that ban. Not going to see Zillion or LeBlanc bans, you feel, today, but regardless, the Zoe is not something they want to play against, especially as Aaron has shown proficiency on that particular champion.
Yeah, he was super strong in it last time they matched up. I think he ended up with like double-digit kills on that pick at the end of one of the games, and he looked fantastic on it. So not surprised to see that ban away. And of course, red side, you ban Aatrox. We did see people play like the likes of Fiora and Poppy into it, and it has been doing pretty well, but it's just sometimes easier to just get it off the rift.
So it feels like, wait a second, I think we just dropped out of a champion select there. Galio was banned. Now, I'm wondering whether that was supposed to be a Galio ban or not. Sometimes when they make mistakes in Champion Select, that's the case. But if it was a Galio ban, it feels like that composition that we saw Enclave run, that was very heavy dive, combo between Malphite, Galio, something they want to avoid. Although, Rippy did play a monster Galio for EXCEL as well, so they don't want to maybe limit them too much, but it's not something they want to see happen to them, that 5-man dirty bot lane dive.
Yeah, that's something that Enclave really kind of executed well on, was their rotational game around the Malphite, around the Galio, to be able to pick up those advantages with the turret dives. Aaron played a fantastic one. This jungle matchup is going to be pretty tough as well. Yesterday, Taxa played out of his mind with some really big assists from the Thresh Lantern to get him into position to gank.
He had a good
really
trundles,
good trundle, and obviously we know Monkus loves to play Sejuani, but I mean, Enclave are very good at just, playing that jungle matchup in the picks and bans really well, making sure that they don't box themselves in. So, just something to note, I suppose.
So Jim was a first pick for EXCEL yesterday for Venza. They looked like they wanted to get that away from him. The Yasuo was a good ban against Eren, because if you don't want to first pick it, you don't want to give it over to Enclave. The Morgana first pick is interesting here. That strikes me as they maybe want to take away that from a Caitlyn lane, which we saw be so dominant for Enclave yesterday. Is that what you're feeling there, Gosu?
I think it's a couple of things. Yes, that works out really well, but she's also kind of top dog when it comes to the supports at the moment. You've got great engage, you've got the Black Shield as well, just to keep you safe against a lot of these big engaged junglers like that Gragas.
She just got nerfed in. She just got nerfed in the last.
It's just a mana regen. It's not huge. It kind of affects maybe your first 1 to 2 backs, but after that you're okay.
I have a feeling that they picked it for this reason. The Caitlyn coming through for Bendy, they didn't want to give Caitlyn Morgana over to Bendy. They then threw the gauntlet down and said, well, if you don't pick Caitlyn, we will pick Caitlyn. And then now EXCEL, I mean, do you respond with Ashe here?
I think you can. I think you can go Ashe, but the thing that I'm wondering is, I mean, there's other champs that kind of fit the same role as Morgana and do well into her, like a Karma or something like that could be going along well with this. I think, you kind of want to go for the Ashe, or even the Varus works particularly well.
Varus is okay,
I like picking the Trundle away here too. I mean, it works great into Gragas, but it just kind of, if you want to swap that Gragas up to the top side of the map, it means that if you want to go for a mobile AD carry like that Ashe or the Varus, that pillar can just be such a nuisance, so getting that out of the way is just handy.
Good shove in the bot lane coming through. And again, I think you're right. Enclave are now going to have to respond with something that can deal with a Morgana and Varus shove, which is just as good as a Morgana Caitlyn shove, realistically, which is going to be an interesting one for me.
And it's a bit of an issue because, and it makes sense that Nami gets picked up, because in this latest update, there's less health pots available and your start, so you need the healing to try and
Caitlyn Nami also is oppressive as hell.
No, of course, but like even from the other point of view, if you can out-sustain your bot lane, sustains and poke is going to come back into the meta for that reason.
And also just the one thing that solo queue people always fear is a Caitlyn Nami bot lane. You give Tidecaller's Blessing to Caitlyn, she slams you for so much damage in the laning phase, and again, like you said, no sustain there for EXCEL, so they're not going to have that ability to out-trade that for the most part. I like this pickup, and it's the first Nami I think we've seen of the entire tournament, let alone of this tournament specifically. So I think, in for all of our tournaments, I don't believe we've seen a Nami. Yeah,
she's been hovering around in a pretty decent spot. I mean, she's good engaged, as you're saying. That Tidecaller's Blessing can be such a nuisance to deal with. The biggest thing that we kind of saw her disappear was the Braum as well, was just so annoying to deal with. He just pops up the shield and you essentially have no ultimate. So now that you're going up against the Morgana, you can lock that in and not worry too much about, your ultimate just being completely nullified.
So Ryze coming through as a ban here, as well as a Gnar. Gnar definitely targeted towards Sindhu. I think that's likely saying that Rift will want to go for a Mundo potentially, even though Mundo I think got a couple of nerfs, but I just get the feeling with the Gnar ban. Or maybe,
I mean, you can still go wombo combo if you want. His Malphite was impactful.
Yes, that's very true.
You don't necessarily have to lock yourself in. Yesterday he played a fantastic Camille as well. Even when behind against the Poppy, was able to make really impactful team fighting decisions, which allowed the rest of his team to, follow up. So I don't think that Rift is going to feel, pocketed at this moment. He can really just look for that last pick. And then they give that mid lane over to Aaron. He played a fantastic Azir yesterday. really good control over the team fights.
I think it's also nice because you're kind of going to expect EXCEL to default towards that Orianna or something along those lines. Could see the Syndra come back in. I'd actually like to see maybe a Fizz pick up here. I think that could be really good. He got some really nice buffs and can do incredibly well. I just don't know if Rippy's going to be comfortable picking that up. So, like, I mean, you need a bit of time to practice with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Syndra is a safe pick because of her early game buffs. She's pretty good at putting pressure onto the Azir. So I think that's a decent pick up here. They've got a good pick potential with the Morgana as well. Now it's up for Sendo to pick something in the top lane that just has good matchups all round.
You just go split push. I mean, you've got a heap of poke coming through with the Varus and the Syndra underneath those towers. You got good disengage with Trundle and Morgana. You got the Black Shield there. So I don't think, like, you've already got a strong 4-man. I don't think you need another team fighter.
That is a very, very... Oh, okay, that last minute. I thought that was immediately going to get logged in, but the Cho'Gath comes through. Something that we saw Sendu play yesterday. It is weak to certain things in the top lane, and Rifty might be on a mission to try and expose that, because we know that Rifty likes to find those 1v1 matchups.
I wonder if you go for something like the Shen here, because we were already looking at, you know, the teleport changes. I mean, Shen can have a big impact with that ultimate now, and when you've got, you know, Caitlyn and Nami, such an impressive lane.
I was thinking Darius.
Yeah.
I was absolutely thinking Darius because it's just oppressive for Cho'Gath to deal with. Now, it is true damage versus true damage at the end of the day, but you're never going to outtrade a Darius as a Cho'Gath. So and Rifty is a Darius god. In fact, some of the highlight plays that we had from the previous week was Rifty being a god. So for last week, we had a replay package that we did. A lot of that was just Rifty being a god on Darius with 3-man pools, massive dunks.
I mean, he got the first pinnacle of the tournament on Darius.
Yeah.
So, I mean, pretty huge stuff for him.
The big thing I'm worried about taking Darius here is that you pretty much have a losing matchup in the mid. You've kind of got an even one in the bottom lane, but Venzer and Quickset will kind of have a bit of an up at that level 6 because you got a huge amount of engagement coming through. And I think you kind of, your play in the bottom side is not a kill lane, it's really just to try and continue to shove in. So the longer almost you stay in that lane, the better it works out for Enclave, because they're just trying to wait and scale until they can hit those 2 items from the Azir and the Caitlyn. A Shen just offers you that protection and allows you that scalability, because you're going to have that teleport advantage, you're going to have that big shield that comes through and stops a lot of the plays that EXCEL are pretty much famous for at this stage. They love that early game aggression.
Quickset is known as a Morgana Thresh player as well. This is kind of a big pick for him in general. So we'll expect to see some fancy stuff come out of him. If you're looking at kill lanes, like mid lane is a kill lane for EXCEL, especially so. Just try and burn that cleanse early on, get that bull rolling. Top lane is a big swing lane for Enclave. If you can put Sendu behind, he tilts like crazy, and obviously Darius can pop off.
I mean, the one thing that EXCEL did really well yesterday was make sure that the Cho'Gath didn't fall behind. Taxa, lots of priority up to the top side, made sure that Cho'Gath got ahead against the Gnar, which is meant to bully him in under turret anyway. And then from that point onwards, there was nothing that Wind and Rain could really do to touch the Cho'Gath. I mean, Tax's Trundle is where I'm going to be focusing my attention on to. Where does he go around the map? Where is his pressure being applied? Yesterday, he, you know, just took over game 1 against Wind and Rain, and really there was nothing they could do to kind of combat. Now, against Monkus, though, Monkus is also, you know, the same kind of jungler, really puts a lot of pressure down, has fantastic team fighting ability as well. On the Gragas, he's going to have to be really impactful.
Yeah, well, luckily for Monkus, Gragas is one of his best champions. He's kind of known for Gragas and Sejuani specifically, so he's probably going to be in a decent position. Right, this is the time of the champion select where I turn to Rob. And I say, Rob, talk about win conditions for both of these teams.
Yeah, if I'm looking at Enclave, we already kind of touched on it. It's just wait and scale. I mean, yes, you got a good pushing power with that Caitlyn in the bottom lane, but you're going to just be answered pretty heavily by Morgan Varus. So just hang on, just wait, keep yourself safe, let Azir get to those 2 items. Caitlyn needs the same, and then you can kind of get rolling and get these big team fights going, have the Darius come through, and use that Nami tidal wave to just start off these fights and kickstart yourself.
Really interesting you mentioned the 2 items for Caitlyn, because that's going to come a bit earlier due to the AD carry item changes. If that comes at a point where first Baron is up, we've got 2 items on Azir, and Darius is doing well, I reckon Enclave can win off first Baron. I reckon they could be a first Baron win team here with this composition. Caitlyn traditionally has two points in the game that you pick her. You pick her to have lane priority, which you're not going to get as well versus a Morgana Varus lane, or you pick her for scaling, which she scales quite well. If you get a 2 to 2.5 item spike at around first Baron, when Azir is spiked at 2 items and Darius is doing pretty well, you could win off first Baron straight up here for Enclave. What about EXCEL then?
Yeah, this is the big issue with trying to get those to the 2 items spike is I don't think EXCEL are going to let them. They have a great early game team. They've got, you know, a heap of CC in the bottom lane, a heap of CC in the mid lane as well, and that Nami, especially in the bot lane, is going to be a super juicy target for Trundle, for Quickseth, for Venzer, and I'm a little bit worried about it. I think you kind of just let top lane do its thing. You're not really going to be able to kill the Darius there. Maybe you can help out with a counter gank and keep them safe, but realistically, EXCEL are going to use the big advantages that they have in lane and these big CCs that they have to try and lock them up, get a few kills early. They can control down around that dragon pit incredibly well and just start to get the snowball going.
Yeah, and I think post 6 bot lane, kill lane absolutely for Taxes to head into. Mid lane, maybe just relieve pressure top lane, go mid lane trying to get pressure down for the Syndra. If Syndra can get going, I mean, roam bot, Nami or Caitlyn just dead every single time, and they can snowball it there potentially. I agree with you. But if they sit back and let Enclave get to 2 items, just doesn't feel like it's a good game plan for EXCEL.
And I think the big thing here is actually going to be a little bit of the RNG in the fight. If we see like Mountain Drakes and Infernal Drakes spawning early on in the game, that spells really bad news for Enclave, because Syndra is like, when you're pushing in from red side in particular, you've got to move through these tight corridors to get into Dragon. That's just fantastic for Morgana, fantastic for Varus, great for Syndra. All that CC can land so handily, and then you just fire up a Trundle Pillar behind them, because you know, why the hell not? So they're not going to get out of there. So this is where I get a little bit worried for Enclave, just with the losing lanes they kind of picked into. It'll be a bit of RNG to see if they can actually make sure they're getting Cloud Drakes or something that they can let go and not have to worry about trying to contest them.
Just been informed, it's UK esports.
Oh boy.
It's been a pause. Been a pause at the start of the game, as per usual. So let's wind this in, and boys, we'll talk a little bit about predictions here going into. I will obviously be opening up the flip-flop store at points during this broadcast.
What happened to it? It used to be an emporium.
I mean, had to downsize. No one was buying my flip-flops, so unfortunately I had to downsize to just a little shop now. Maybe if you buy my flip-flops this week, I can upgrade to an emporium for the next time. So, both of you guys, I want to know series predictions. So, starting here, you've seen the first draft. I want to know from you, series prediction.
I really like EXCEL's comp for this, so I know that they're going to take. I think they're going to take the first game. It's really difficult for me to say. I think I give it to EXCEL, but this is going to be a 3-1, 3-2. Like, we're definitely going long game.
I want one of them.
Yeah.
Give me one of them.
I think 3-2 EXCEL. I think we're going long games.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, my ability to look into the future and see the drafts that are coming in Game 2 and Game 3, I can very comfortably say this is going to be a 3-1 EXCEL.
So, look at that. I mean, just this clairvoyance over here on the left-hand side. Hey, guys, if you want to know the lottery numbers for tonight, or whenever the lottery is, I don't know when the lottery is in the UK. I think it's Wednesdays and Thursdays. Oh, no, I don't know.
Today's Thursday.
No, it's not Thursdays. Dowsy here can look into the future. So with the hashtag #ForzaChampions3, please ask Dowsy to predict lottery numbers. And he will, and hopefully you'll all be millionaires by the end of the weekend. That's what we do for you here on the Forza Champions. We have a clairvoyant caster on the left-hand side, and this is what he offers the broadcast. So, we're about to jump into game, and we are going into the first between Enclave and EXCEL. That means I'm going to hand over to Dowsy and Gosu.
All right, cheers. And yep, my PayPal is don't offer guarantees, but you know, donations don't hurt. Now, moving on to this grand finals here, Forza Champions 3, Enclave versus EXCEL on the Summoner's Rift. We talked about win conditions just a little bit, Gosu, and I guess we're kind of at an agreement here for Enclave. Let's kind of steady the ship through the early game into the mid. Look what happens around the 20-minute mark. EXCEL, they're looking to try and accelerate the pace as much as possible.
Yeah, I think I'm glad that they picked up, as I was kind of talking with the Shen, I'm glad that they have a Darius in the top lane just to give somewhere on the map that they're going to be winning. Because Rift should just be able to take over this lane pretty substantially, although Sendo, of course, is a very formidable opponent to go up against. And it just means that they can, as you're saying, steady the ship that little bit easier.
Have to see exactly how this bot lane does end up, you know, scoping out. Bendy, of course, it's always very interesting. I love focusing in on the North American import, especially because of the statement that Enclave made, is that they looked in the UK and they said, nah, no one matches what we want for our team. Look at this, the damage at the level 2 power spike. Benz is in trouble. And then they looked at Europe and said, yeah, nah, no one else here. Come over from North America. and show these European scrubs how to AD carry.
And he's kind of been doing it fairly well. I mean, even looking at this lane so far, I mean, Varus below half health, has already burnt 2 his corrupting stacks, and Caitlyn's hasn't lost any health.
And also just NA versus EU memes are great. Yeah. It's the only reason I bring it up, is to spark riot in the Twitch chat. We got a route here onto Hado. Look at the health bar ticket. It's the first blood. He didn't even see it coming, and the first blood goes to EXCEL.
So I said it at the start, Nami is an incredibly squishy champion, and it's going to be Venzer and Quickside looking for him, and they found him straight away. That was just, you do not step out behind the creeps in this matchup at any point in time, because there's either a binding or a full damage arrow that's going to be landing straight on your face.
Yeah, really unfortunate stuff for Hado. Just really showing how squishy that Nami is, and here comes Taxa looking for some more, but the gank from Monkus is coming through. Beautiful flash, double knock-up, Sendo's bleeding, and Rift will find the kill. Taxa flashing away, but Rift isn't done just yet. The bleed will find the kill. It's a double for Rift.
That was a really nice turnaround from Enclave, and we were already saying, you know, Monkus, you can kind of leave this lane alone, but if he can get a counter gank like that and give a double kill over to this Darius already, that's an easy setup for Enclave now, and a great lane for them to go pushing. You can see here, just the flash body slam was superb, picking up both members straight away, and Rift gets to his max stacks and is just able to turn this around so easily.
Really nice stuff from Rift, and just knowing his damage outputs on this champion. I mean, when I think Darius, I think Rift. I know some people think Kerberos in the top side, but for me, Rift always holds that place in my heart. And I just love seeing him play it. He plays it so well. Always so scary and competitive. Look at this, already max stacks against Sendo, and he's just going to send him back to the grey screen once more. Slowly but surely, the bleed ticks away, and Sendo, there's no running from death. The grey Reaper.
So, about that flip-flop story you had going there, I mean, Rift is just taking over this lane. We saw him, last time he got this pick was against DanXD, and he pretty much did the same thing, and when all you need is one gank from Monkus to set you up this heavily, I mean, this Darius is going to be massive.
Not to mention, now Taxa has a really hard choice to make. Does he stop the bleeding? Haha, pun. In the top side that Rift is currently, you know, dishing out, or does he focus on other lanes? You kind of feel like he can't really stop Rift from being a Darius, but also, how much do you want to lose your top lane?
Well, see, this is the thing. Even hang on, he's actually gone up here. This could be the
turn. Oh my gosh!
Oh no!
No way. He's not going to get the kill. Okay, he's dead.
Oh no!
The shutdown comes through. Sendo does the job.
Okay.
So Monkus is in bot lane. Spotted up. That's not a black shield. Quickstep flashes the bubble from Hado.
And he's gone kind of low off that trade though, so it will help out Enclave. I think I want to take a step back, look at Rift. So he's getting a little bit too big for his boots. Tried to go for the all-in and thought he had it with the level 6, but wasn't quite enough damage there. Ends up getting himself handed over, and EXCEL on the bottom side of the map now are starting to lose out a little bit. It's the flash gone on Quickset, but overall that's not the end of the world. Bendy did go relatively low, has the Nami there to heal up, so it won't be too bad.
Yeah, no, I don't think that one kill is going to be too much of an issue for Rift in the top side. He's still going to be pretty damn scary to the Cho'Gath, but it does mean that potentially now Taxa feels that there can be a reason for him to put some time up top lane. And if he does that, then that just gives Bendy and Hado a bit more freedom in the bot lane.
And it gives Monkus a definite route that he can kind of play towards as well. So if they start to lose objectives like the Dragons on the bottom side, which fortunate enough for the Enclave side has actually been a Cloud Drake, they can now have Monkus go up, pick up the Rift Herald, and utilize the strength of Rift in that 1v1 matchup to start picking up a little bit of the global gold for the Enclave side.
Ooh, it is double buffs on Cho'Gath. They're looking pretty tasty. Rift's mouth is salivating at the thought of a red and a blue.
Yeah, it'll actually help him out pretty substantially in this lane, because of course the red buff gives you that little bit of health regen, and with the amount of pressure and damage Rift has been putting down, Sendo will be delighted to have a bit more regen in that lane.
That Sky of the Week almost connecting onto Aaron. Always a bit scary. Syndra did receive some damage buffs in the early game on patch 8.15 that we're playing on today. Here comes Taxa, though, into the bot side, looking to try and find a Bendy. Knocks Hado back, but not in the right direction. It's just going to be him safe for now. Blue buff secured by Monkus, but does mean it doesn't go onto Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be pretty happy with that regardless. Just getting it off of Aaron was the main point there. Rippy will have a huge amount of pushing power in that mid lane when he picks up his own blue buff, and Aaron will have a bit of a problem trying to deal with it all. So if you can try and just shove in that wave as Rippy, you can start to get this roam pressure down and try and see if you can get into this bottom lane and really start to swing it in your favor.
This has been a pretty exciting first game. Both these teams butting heads at many different avenues here. In the mid lane, though, things have been relatively quiet. There is a big CS lead starting to develop for Rippy, almost at 20 at this point.
Yeah, I mean, across the map in general, it's kind of just been back and forth depending on which lane you look at. I mean,
Monkus wants Rippy. That pillar keeps Rippy alive for now. Summoner used the heal. I mean, Monkus flashes, lands the auto attack, looking for the barrel. He finds it over the wall, but now he has to run from Taxa. Never mind, here comes a Rift, pulls him away, but the red smite gonna secure the kill. Taxa now flashing away, and that will be Sendo knocking Rift up, making sure no follow back comes.
I didn't realize that the blue buff had the pool party skin on. He's got trunks on. But I like that they're trying to make the play around this blue buff, but I might have to be quiet for a second.
Yeah, 1v2 here. Taxa's holding out.
Oh no.
Pulls in Sendo. Goes for the execute. Doesn't quite land the kill. The flash does go away, and there it is. Nice stuff from Rift. Flashes over the wall. Finds the kill. And is going to push Taxa out of his own jungle as well. Happy to take those 1v2s.
And I really like that Enclave are trying to put pressure on this. I was about to say Rift has a very strong top side of the map, so they can utilize his strength to start picking up a few extra kills for themselves. And it also means that they can try and get this blue buff away from Rippy to even out that mid lane. You can see on the handoff here, Monkus goes from the evade. Rift is already starting to drift down. The biggest fault that I have here is Aaron should already be moving.
Right.
This would help out absolutely massively in this lane, but instead he's kind of gone, okay, oh no, I'm going to go farm. So if you have Aaron here at this point, he has the divide, the Emperor's Divide that could have come up, he could have shoved them back out, and it would have been a much safer trade. They got the 3 men there, they can take the blue, so a little bit of mixed communication there with the mid lane, but it does still end up with Enclave having a good advantage, and now they can just rinse and repeat here. You got Rift back in the top lane, he's going to be able to shove in this wave. Aaron should try and move across now to help out the Gragas, but it looks like they'll get it for free with Trundle in the bot lane.
Yeah, no, it may be difficult to contest here. You see Sendo trying to kind of put on a brave face, head on over towards the jungle, and now Rippy's rotating as well, but he has a minion wave under his turret, which means that he can't really rotate immediately, and now it looks like the blue buff should be able to go over to Aaron this time. If I am correct, he did get it, yes. Really good stuff.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's going to even out that mid lane as well. We were just talking about the pushing power, but it's also, if you look at the levels, Rippy just hit that level 9 point, whereas Aaron's been sitting on that for a little bit because of Rippy walking across and the fiasco that happened in that jungle trying to pick up the blue buff. So Aaron has actually got a little bit of a nice lead for himself, and since Taxer hasn't really been able to put the pressure down in this lane, he's been happily farming up. Yes, he's down a bit, but actually Bendy...
Holy moly, Bendy's in trouble. Quickstep locks up Hado, the cleanse, but Bendy's in a fruit. He's in trouble, and Venzo will find the kill. It's Monkus and Rift diving Sendo, and Rift makes short work of that one on the top side. A 1-for-1 trade across the map, and now it's the race for the turrets.
Yeah, this is pretty much just, look guys, we're going to go and put pressure on whichever side we're strong. Venzer and Quickset have the 1-up on Enclave's bot lane, so that's where we see Taxer visiting. Rift clearly is doing well for himself in the top lane, so Monkus decides to help him out and try and get that first turret, which they will.
Nice stuff from Enclave, able to race that one out. That's what you need here, and it does look like this turret will fall in just a second. Oh, the minions, there it is. Not able to give the soul gold over, though, to Bendy.
Yeah, it's not the biggest worry since, I mean, the top turret already gone down. The thing that's a big problem for Enclave right now, though, is that the Caitlyn is so far behind with this first turret already going down, that once we start to transition out of lanes, and this is kind of what we're going to start seeing fairly soon, she's now pretty far behind. She's got to get up to those 2 to 3 items before she really has the impact that she wants, and it's going to be very slowed down when she's 2 kills behind the Varus and a tower to boot.
Interestingly enough, they're going to give the Rift Herald over to Hado here. Going to be the keeper of the eye.
What I really like, sorry, just going back to the Varus build, I only just noticed there looking at it. He's gone for the lethality build here, which gives them a much stronger mid game. And we're already saying that Azir and Caitlyn will do fantastic in the later stages of the game. So having that extra punch and extra bit of power in that earlier stage of the game should help them to deny it and just start to snowball this game even further.
He's looking pretty cool there, the blue buff.
Yeah,
Got a bit of a better view of him. I'm sure the red buff also suited up as well. We haven't been able to look at that yet.
How do you do it to the blue buff, though?
What do you mean?
More
Take
animalistic. It's like, how does a dog wear pants? Remember that meme that was going around a while ago?
I mean, that's very true.
Have Riot Games solved it all?
I mean, the UK Riot Games confirmed that yes, there are blue buffs on desert islands as well. Just in case you're wondering. Oh, Quickstep's found Haddo. Forces a flash there. Very respectful of the incoming EXCEL Legion collapsing on his position.
Haddo hasn't really impressed me on this Nami so far. I mean, you can understand the pick, but he just seems to be caught unawares a lot of the times, getting, you know, off to the side of minions where he's getting caught out by Quickset, getting poked down by Venzer, and has been caught several times by Taxer as well. He has the cleanse, but it hasn't really helped out massively in this situation.
That's true. I mean, he's used it every now and again, but it's not up always. And the fact that he has to use it off cooldown shows that he's continuously getting locked up.
Yeah, he's also got the Rift Scuttler, or not Rift Scuttler, even Rift Herald there for himself.
Yep.
So it means that then they're going to be hurting it a little bit when they go to try and clear out these wards. So that's why we're kind of looking at this down the river. You can see a heap of blue wards there for the XL side, but very little red for Enclave.
It's very true. It was a slightly unusual decision to give it to him. Oh, Bendy versus Rippy.
No.
I say that, never mind. One ultimate, one kill, and now Haddo locked up against two. Lots of poke, and Quickstep will pick up the kill. 2 for EXCEL, where they want to go.
Yeah, and this has gone from bad to worse for Enclave. They need time to scale. That's what we were talking about in the Champ Select, where they want to try and hang on and wait in these lanes as long as possible. But when that first brick goes down so fast, these guys have got to start maneuvering around the map. They've just been caught out time and time again, and EXCEL are picking everything up.
Absolutely are. It's only just 1,000 gold in favor of the EXCEL squad right now, but they're looking to try and take a Cloud Drake for themselves here. Knock that one down and, you know, hope for potentially more of an aggressive style Drake afterwards. That's that RNG game. If it favors EXCEL, that could be really good. Rift, though, in the top side, poking down Sendo, just reminding him that he has damage.
The good thing about the Enclave lineup is that they have a substantial amount of wave clear. I mean, Aaron's going to do great with it. Caitlyn with that Piltover Peacemaker is going to be making short work of these minions. Monk is to a certain extent as well. This gives them a little bit of an opportunity to see what Rift can get done in the top side of the map. If he can start to get these towers down, if he can just become a split push menace, Enclave can just play to that strength, and maybe EXCEL will have to answer for it, giving them that time to scale up and get the items that they need. Otherwise, they could find themselves in a bit of a hard place, but Enclave now pushing in towards the mid.
Yeah, and a fight in the jungle as well. Sendo gets pulled into trouble. Taxa trying to do his work. Sendo gets knocked to safety, and Rift and Monkus will walk away. The Rift Herald was used in the mid lane, but the turret did survive. Not able to take it out just yet. Going to be a job for another time, you feel, for Enclave here. And we look at the lanes, you know, the difference between the mid lane, the top, and the bot side. Obviously, Rift is having a fun time with his, you know, 60 CS lead, but everywhere else it's been a bit more of a tricky business. Aaron's finally starting to catch up with Rippy due to the presence that Monkus has put into the topside jungle, but Bendy not so much, and they're really relying on Rift in the top side. And I mean, the damage, the flash forward, that's not going to save you. No heal can save you against Rift. That's not the member you want to lose.
It's definitely not, and watch how EXCEL have to react right now. You've got Taxer coming back from that mid lane push that they were trying to get going, which again is just forcing EXCEL to play to the beat of Enclave's drum. Now they've got a bit more farm, they've got a bit more time. You can see both the first items are now completed on the 2 carries for Enclave, and this is just Rift who's just buying so much time. But I mean, even at this stage, I don't know if it's a time buyer or like a stall that's coming through from Rift. I think he might just be a one-man army.
Yeah, no, he is. That's what his Darius is. Every competitive game, that he's got a head on. He is just the one-man army. He's like, all right, guys, I'm going to put you on my back. Hold on, because I'm going to spin.
Yeah, it took them a couple of kills to get the bootstraps up and going, but they're firmly in place. And ENCLAVE are definitely on the back of this massive 6-kill Darius. Rift now making his way down towards the bot lane. Should be making short work of that tower as well once he gets in range. Aaron, though.
Lots of damage. Heal comes through from Hado just to try and bring him back to a healthy range. But as you can see, Rift is split pushing down the bot side. EXCEL going to rotate as 4 straight up in towards the top side to make short work of this turret. But it does mean that ENCLAVE are going to pick up the very low health turret in the mid lane. Rift will make short work of the one in bot side. And overall, ENCLAVE come out on top in gold.
Yeah, I mean, this could also be a rotation as well. I mean, you can just take mid and then go down to the bottom lane, take up another tower, or even have Darius move in with the mid lane here. So it looks like it's a base race, but this is one that definitely ENCLAVE had the advantage in.
Yeah, no, it is definitely one that you feel they do, but I mean, EXCEL are already on that tier 2 turret in the top side, and that looks like it's going down fairly quickly with Quickstep and Sendo to hold off the rest of ENCLAVE here. They are going to be able to pick that one up and walk away, so it does really rely on Rift to be able to finish the job down bot, which, I mean, I don't think anyone from EXCEL are going to even contest.
No, ENCLAVE now are trying to see if they can catch up with them. They know that the rest of EXCEL have to be collapsing from that top side, so they're playing down towards their kind of safer half here. Might be looking to see if they can catch someone else.
Ooh, Death Bush, Tax is in trouble. Not so much, he's a very fast troll.
Yeah, we'll be able to escape out of that one, but I mean, overall it was 1 tower for 1, but they got a decent chunk of damage onto that mid lane turret, and I mean, overall ENCLAVE have been playing this incredibly well, especially for a team that we're already saying they need to try and hang on for the items to come through from Azir, to come through from Caitlyn. I mean, look at across at the Varus, he's got that Yomu's Ghost Blade already completed, the Luden's completed onto the Syndra as well, he's going to be doing a heap of damage. So right now, EXCEL are looking for the fights, they're trying to get something started, but if ENCLAVE can keep this kind of run around the map going where we trade tit for tat, it works out fantastically for them.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're looking for. It's only when EXCEL force the fight that ENCLAVE have to be ready to either take it or not. Walk away, look for something else across the map, and that's kind of where Rift is such a big factor. However, if EXCEL can set enough members down to deal with Rift, then they suddenly have a free map for a couple of seconds where they can force ENCLAVE into positions where they want, which makes Rift's rotational game even more important for ENCLAVE.
I do want to see where both teams are rotating right now, though. A dragon is about to spawn in 50 seconds. Rift looks like, ooh, nice sidestep.
Nice sidestep, yep, and should just be able to get away with the Scuttle Crab speed boof.
So this is where you can see Bendy is pushing into the top lane. So right now, this is going to be EXCEL are trying to commit, like they're going to lose out on the vision around Baron for a moment so they can try and pick up this Baron, or Baron even Dragon. It means that they've kind of sacrificed all of that vision up on that top side where you can see Bendy's pushing right now. That's why he kind of feels a little bit safe to push so deeply into the EXCEL half of the map. If they are going to go for this, though, it could be a little bit dangerous. I mean, Aaron and Bendy, they do have a lot of damage that can go down onto that Baron very, very quickly. But actually looks like instead now they're kind of realizing that if we are going to go for this, we do have to be careful. So they're trying to get that vision control back.
I mean, yesterday ENCLAVE did a 2-man Baron with just Aaron's Azir and Monkus, I believe was playing Sejuani. It was very simple for them. It's not quite the game that you think they would be able to sneak that out so easily, but I mean, if Rift is on the inhibitor turrets, then and Monkus is there to protect as well, then potentially they just rotate over immediately and look for something. Do see Aaron rotating, looking for vision. Rippy's there as well. Ooh, not going to quite be able to catch him out with a Scatter of the Weak.
I'm looking to see now, so when I'm looking at EXCEL's comp, especially with the builds that you're seeing coming through from the Varus and the fact that he's gone for the Comet, this is a poking game for EXCEL.
Oh no, the Chains of Corruption doesn't quite land onto Bendy. That's a huge ultimate down. ENCLAVE will recognize it.
So ideally what EXCEL want to do is try and set up these big comps where they can get the waves.
Oh, they're straight in, looking for Venza, but he doesn't quite get locked up. Quickstep in the middle of the fight, doesn't want to be there. Flashes to safety, but Aaron's looking for the knockback. Finds Venza, finds Taxev, loses his life. Maybe ENCLAVE have bit off more than they can chew, as Venza finds a snipe from afar. Rift in the middle of a fight against 5, loses his life. It's another for Venza, and it all comes tumbling tumbling down for Enclave.
And we were just saying that Enclave do not want to be fighting right now. EXCEL are stronger, and EXCEL have a great way of starting off these fights, and the burst that comes through as well. Aaron saw blood in his eyes, and that was kind of the big issue in that fight. Aaron goes in as everyone else from Enclave is running away. He thinks he's going to make the big play. He thinks he's going to be the savior. Instead, just gives over his life, and EXCEL now are going to scoop up this Baron.
Holy moly. Things just go so wrong so quickly for Enclave here. EXCEL now with a Baron in hand. There's nothing really that Enclave can do to stop this from coming through. Now we'll have to see how EXCEL want to start to really put the pressure in onto Enclave here. Here's that team fight.
Yeah, look, Monkus gets the flash body slam onto just Quickset. This isn't really the person that you want. Really, they were looking for Benzer in that situation. And now watch, Bendy's out of the fight, Haddo's out of the fight, Monkus is out of the fight, and Aaron's going back in. Like, there's no reason there to go and make that play. You can see how low the health bars are on everyone else, and Rift as well is just giving up his life here. He knows he's not going to get out. Like, there's just far too many ways of stopping him. He might as well see how much damage he can get down, try and stop them from going for the Baron, but he just, even at 6-2 now, he doesn't have the damage to try and take on all the members in a team fight like that.
It was a good attempt from Monkus, but it wasn't executed well enough that the rest of the fight should have happened. The miscommunication comes through now. It's Rift versus 2. Zendo and Tax are looking to find themselves a raid boss and get the drops as well. Here comes Monkus over the wall though, knocks up Zendo. Quickstep is behind him, gonna throw out the root. Trying to disengage Monkus with the ultimate, but he's not able to do so. Rift will be slain. Bendy, whew, almost loses his life as well, but Haddo should be able to save him, get him out of trouble here.
Yeah, Enclave looked like they were going to be able to find something off the back of Rift, but when you don't have the waves in your favor and Rift is trying to continue on, when all he's got left is those Nexus turrets, and it's the rest of EXCEL are just pushing too far up, so it's easy for them to collapse. You don't have the rest of Enclave to support you, and this is now all going in favor of EXCEL. They're pushing in through this mid lane, and they should be able to pretty easily pick up this turret.
Oh man, Monkus is maybe in trouble. I say that though, they don't go for the re-engage onto him. A heal even used there from Rippy to make sure everyone gets out alive as another root lands onto Monkus. All in all, this is going okay for Enclave. They're not losing too much to this Baron push. Going to be a couple turrets by the looks of it.
Yeah, see, the biggest problem is that it just gives all of the tempo back into EXCEL's favor. And I was touching on it very shortly before that big fight that happened previously. With the build that we're seeing coming out from Benzer, and also the fact he's gone Comus, and you've got a big Syndra there, the siege potential that comes through from EXCEL is absolutely stellar. You're going to have a heap of poke that's coming down, like 403 on the Varus.
Yes.
He'll be flinging these corrupting arrows down on top of you, and they'll be taking chunks. And this is a big issue for Enclave, where how do you try and stabilize now? Rift can't get the waves in control because Sendo now has EXCEL pushing up and got them to support him at all points in time.
Yep.
And it just means that this ship steadying that we were talking about from Enclave has kind of gone topsy-turvy.
Yeah, topsy-turvy indeed. Currently for Rift, he's trying his best to stabilize, but the pressure game from EXCEL is continuing, looking to mount one more push-up with the rest of their Baron buff here and put the Enclave roster back in their base. The Azir turret, I mean, just doing a bit of work to kind of slow down this push from EXCEL. You can see they're ready in the blue side jungle, looking for an opening.
This is going to be tough for Enclave. There's a big wave on the top that Rift has now got to go and deal with. So EXCEL now are able to push in as a 5-man unit into this bottom lane. Taxer doing zone control, forces Aaron back.
See how the rest of this fight unfolds. Haddo with a 2-man tidal wave, just trying to push EXCEL off this inhibitor turret. Benzer's not really ready to leave. He's happy to throw those arrows out time and time again off cooldown.
The Nami is going to be super helpful here in trying to avoid the poke that's coming through from EXCEL, but I really don't know if Haddo has enough to deal with it. Yes, the Athenes and Holy Grail is going to be great because you can start to get that little bit of extra health there, but will dissuade them actually for the moment, as they weren't able to find it much onto the crucial targets. But EXCEL have all the outer turrets of Enclave down, and it's going to be a tough one for them to try and come back. They do have the potential. They're not out of the fight just yet, but we still have to wait and see how they can try and stop this bleed.
Yeah, no, that's very sure. 4,000 gold, Enclave behind, EXCEL with a massive advantage given back to them. How long do you think Enclave hold off for, if they have to?
Just looking at the items that are completed on the carries for EXCEL, you really, like, this has got to be a good 10 minute hold. I think once you can get to past the 35-minute mark, you're in good shape. You should have enough items under your belt. But at the moment, it's just too difficult, particularly when you're looking at Bendy, who has the cleanse and has had to go a QSS as well. Like, that's just delaying him even further. He doesn't have his Infinity Edge completed, so he's barely tickling the Shogath. Doesn't have the last Whisper, so realistically right now, actually I'd even maybe give it longer. They really need to pick up, you know, an Infinity Edge onto Caitlyn, the last Whisper as well. You want to try and get some sort of Void Staff onto Aaron as well, but he's been going towards the Seeker's Arm Guard to finish off the Zhonya's as well, because he needs a little bit of defense stats here too. So it's Enclave have got a very long, grueling uphill battle to try and keep going in this.
Rough times then if you need everything essentially and the kitchen sink to be able to throw it back at towards EXCEL. It's not a position you want to be in. And of course, League of Legends doesn't work that way. In a minute and a half, the Baron comes back onto the board and it all starts again. The dance around the pit. Huge damage onto Bendy. Haddo's going to look to try and heal it all back up. It just strikes true how much work that Venza's been doing.
Speaking of healing up as well, just looking at the Warmogs complete onto Shogath. So Sendu now will have an easier time against Rift because he'll be able to deal with just that little bit of extra damage that he's putting down, have that bit of extra sustain. And you don't really have the Terror Dive as well because the Gargoyle Stoneplate is there. So all of the parts around the map that were looking good for Enclave have slowly whittled away, and EXCEL are looking in the driver's seat. As you're saying, Venzer been absolutely astounding for them in this game. The Manamune completed as well means that poke just got 10 times worse.
Oh no. Oh no. This is the only reason you, anything you can say, I guess, if you're an Enclave fan. Obviously though, a very well executed team fight, and Venza losing his life quickly could just be the swing Enclave needs. That's kind of what a Darius and a Gragas can offer.
If I'm looking at this from Enclave's side though, I'm not like, right guys, EXCEL were just the better team, they just ran away with it, there was nothing we could do. I feel like it was just a case of you drafted for a late game that was never really going to come against a team of the caliber of EXCEL. They are very good at accelerating the gameplay in the early stages and getting themselves into good situations. So if imagine that you'd had a few different carries on the side of Enclave here, something that could spike a little bit earlier. If you had Rift in these big scenarios where he's 6-1 pushing through, well then you can go toe for toe with the rest of the team. But it's not going to be the option, and EXCEL now, knowing they're so far ahead, have turned onto the Baron. Yeah,
Rift is over towards the bot side inhibitor turret, trying to take it on down. There's a vision around this Baron that he can potentially TP to. Tidal Wave going to come through, looking to try and split the team of EXCEL. Monkus looking for the steal over the wall. Let's see if he can find it. Goes on in, 1400 health. The spike comes through, and that's going to be Gragas stealing it for Enclave. Rift TPing in as well. Enclave want the fight, but they're not going to get it just yet, as Quickstep decides to re-engage.
They just need to run.
Is he in trouble? No, he's not, because Rift finds one, finds two. That's a dunk, and now Venza running from the Gragas has to flash. Man, oh boy, oh man, Enclave have found the steal of dreams.
Monkus has brought it right back for Enclave. Everything that we've just said in the last 5 to 10 minutes, how EXCEL were pushing their leads, getting the advantages going, has gone straight out the window. It's Enclave firmly in the driver's seat. They get the bottom in the inhibitor. Top lane is nowhere to be seen. And they're going to push on through.
They're not even backporting. They know the death timers are long enough that they can get more from this push. This is a gigantic wave in the top side, and another inhibitor tower and inhibitor will fall. Enclave going to take 2 of those, and they found themselves right back in this game.
One smite was all the difference in this game. EXCEL, if they'd gotten that Baron, possibly could have turned that fight around and just ended. Nothing would have stood in the way of all the super creeps pushing in, the heap of poke that was coming through from Rippy and Venzer. Enclave would have been forced back to defend on the Nexus turrets, but not the way this game has now turned out. And Bendy and Aaron are starting to push up towards those items. 3.5 completed onto the Caitlyn. Third item literally just completed for Aaron as well. They're now starting to work up towards these massive team fights, and that's what we just saw after that Baron died.
Holy moly. If Enclave can pull this back from despair, then we have a series on our hands here, Gosu.
This is definitely a series anyway. Game 1, we already have a Baron steal.
Exactly what we want. Now it's just the slow pushing game. Enclave with a Baron buff obviously know that they are strong, but they also respect the fact that they were gifted a way back into this game, and they can't just go barreling down mid just yet. So get the side waves pushing on in, make sure these super minions do their work, get that Azir turret pushed up as well, which forces EXCEL back. Now they can look to try and hail on with this really good siege composition that they have, look to try and take down these turrets.
It's going to be really difficult as well with Darius in the bottom lane, continuously just escorting these minions into the Nexus turrets. It gives Enclave a lot of free time in this mid lane. The protection of that Azir turret as well means EXCEL really don't want to try and push in too heavily. Bendy, Rift, Rapid Fire Cannon as well means he's just taking pop shots at this.
Ooh, Bendy takes a huge poke of damage, but of course you have that Nami to try and heal you back up. Scout of the Week knocks Eren back.
Chains of Corruption
Chains of Corruption, yeah, dodged away there by Eren as well. With that ultimate out, you have to feel this is the chance for Enclave. Looking like they're going on to Rift here, the entire team. Venza manages to just escape. Gonna be the kill coming through for Rippy. A huge shutdown. Eren now caught up potentially. Bendy though takes down the inhibitor. Quickstep may lose his life. The tidal wave secures it. Taxes down as well. A 2-for-1 in favor of Enclave. And the minions now striking onto the Nexus turrets. Bendy gonna start working on the first, and it falls in swift pace. We'll have to see if there's any life left in EXCEL. Eren says no,
beautiful.
And Venza is caught out dead. Rippy will make sure that goes down, but he doesn't even connect the shots. Never mind. This is it. Enclave looking to finish the job with just Sendo and Rippy left alive. The Nexus not to take too many hits more. You feel that's going to be Bendy finishing the job, and that's going to be Enclave taking game 1.
Monkus once again comes up big for the side of Enclave alongside Rift in that top lane. These two guys were the linchpin for Enclave. Otherwise, that would have been a very different story. EXCEL came in looking so strong, but it was just not meant to be.
I mean, they were hemorrhaging, forgive the pun, in the top lane, obviously very early on, but they threw, hardcore through that Baron. I mean, they probably didn't need to make that play. It was a bit forced in my opinion. Monkus is known as the Baron, like, Steel King of the UK scene. He's done it so many times before. Taxa as well, but Monkus, especially on his Gragas, knows how to play those numbers around the Baron pit. I don't know. I think Enclave fully deserved it, given the way the top lane went for them. I think EXCEL had sparks of life in the early game, and I think they were capitalizing quite well in the mid game. But what a throw. Classic EXCEL as well. Always manages to throw around Baron somehow, shape or form. That is going to be a confidence knock, you feel, for EXCEL, because they were in the lead, they were commanding. I think you're going to have to ban Darius second phase. I mean, especially when you've got red side Rifty, you can't let him have that, especially not picking up a champion like Cho'Gath, which sucks into Darius anyway. Just bad decision-making, I think, from that particular point. And as you saw, they crushed him for the most part in that top lane. However, EXCEL can take heart that they were winning the game until they lost it, in classic Coast fashion from that NARCS.
I mean, that's genuinely all that happened, was that EXCEL allowed the 50-50 smite war to happen. Like, you don't need to do that when you're that far ahead. You can continue putting pressure onto Enclave in so many different ways. I don't think EXCEL will look at that game and go, well, crap, boys, you know, GG's, FF at 15 next game, you know.
No.
Like, clearly,
there's positives there.
That game is a positive loss. And because your one mistake is very simple to remedy.
And there's a massive positive win for Enclave. Again, they will be harking their minds back to Fortune Champions 2 finals and saying, we were in this position before and then they reverse swept us. However, interesting now that Enclave take this first game again versus EXCEL. Very interesting.
I think it was a cool comp to see come out from EXCEL again. It was something that we haven't really seen from them, this kind of pokey siege style. We've kind of seen these big engage, a big split pusher, but this was more kind of, okay, we want to see if we can have this, you know, the Varus come through for a speed and try and get the siege and push going. It ended up being tossed to the Baron, but outside of that, that was a strong composition. They were playing that incredibly well, and you were saying already how strong Rift was on the Darius, but they shut him down. They were playing it very well.
Eventually they managed to shut him down.
And that's what I mean, is that if you're looking at EXCEL's side, This isn't like okay, the draft, yes, the Darius we can get rid of, but there's no reason we can't rinse and repeat this.
The red side last pick is feeling like it's going to be top lane every single time for both of these teams, though. You get that impression so far. Enclave did a great job of capitalizing there. Massive credit to Monkeys and Rifty, who again, that 1-2 combo between them from early game to late game really carried Enclave through. Bot lane was getting a little bit dumpstered. I mean, we thought that might be the case, but regardless, Monkeys and Rifty once more being monsters in their own right for Enclave, pulling them through. And now we look towards the second game. Obviously, we'll reset. Champion select will go again. EXCEL will swap to the other side. What do you think EXCEL needs to change anything, or do you think just do what you did but don't throw?
I actually think it's Enclave who need to change things up.
Agreed.
Yes, they won, but I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. Is bot lane didn't like it at all. The Caitlyn pick, they put high priority on it now yesterday and today, and it's been great when paired with Morgana, but unless you get that Morgana, it's just nothing. The Hado didn't look great on the Nami alongside it. It takes a very long time to try and get going, and unless you can accelerate that, taking all the turrets, it's just not going to work out for Enclave. I want to see them going back to something where they can actually use it. Like, Bendy looks so good on Lucian. Like, stick to these mid-game comps that have been working really, really well for you.
Right, guys, before we jump to a break and we reset for our next game, remember to get involved with the pool party. It's obviously a great way for you to get free pool party skins. All you need to do is register at forgedchampions.com. You also need to go to LVP UK on Twitter and follow them. Hit that follow button. And you then need to tweet this particular question. Everyone's going for it. The question that you need to tweet is, which pool party champion would you like on a desert island and why? And it needs to be hashtag poolpartyFOC. So remember, lots of free skins available here, guys. If you want those pool party skins, do not spray us again, please, Darcy.
That is like directly at my chest as well. It's kind of a big wet splodge over here.
Giving the stream what they want.
Giving the stream what they want. Yeah. Righto. So we will have a look at the damage from that last game before we jump to break as well. You can see here, Varus actually the highest, Rifty second. So overall, you could see Venza doing serious work, as he usually does for EXCEL, to be honest. Big damage carry for EXCEL.
Yeah, that's one of the cool things about Varus. In that mid-game, he's so strong with that build. The Comet does a heap of damage, the Lethality does a heap of damage. The biggest problem he has is that he tends to fall off as the later the game goes, and trying to get through like the tank line that was going to come through from Enclave would have been a bit difficult.
Sure.
That's why we were kind of talking about stall out, see if you can get there, but unfortunately the throw for EXCEL kind of took all that extra damage that he was doing away. Again,
it was a small decision-making error, and that can sometimes put teams in a bit of a negative mindset, but regardless, they should be able to take heart from the fact that they had a good early game. Yep. So, moving forward, do you think that this top-lane matchup is going to be super important? You mean, that was obviously a tough one for Sendo. Does he need to be put on something that has got a better matchup into Rifty in the 1v1 scenario?
Yes, like every time. Like, you can't not... Like, when you consider the matchup here between Rift and Sendo, I would consider Rift to be a player that has a little bit more agency in the top side. When he's doing well, he often, dominates that lane and causes people to play around his style. And so for Sendo, he needs to be on a champion that kind of stops Rift from having the say in the lane, which if he gets away with, always becomes an issue for your team.
Absolutely. Right, well, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the second game of this best-of-5 series. See you soon.